The boutique on Madison Avenue shimmered under the morning sun. Inside, velvet curtains framed the tall windows, and soft classical music whispered through golden speakers. A woman entered quietly. Her hair was tied back simply. She wore a faded cardigan over a long floral dress. No designer logos. No makeup. No jewelry. Her name was Elina. She stepped carefully onto the polished floors, eyes drawn to a mannequin draped in a sleek emerald green gown. As she reached out to feel the fabric, a sharp voice interrupted her thoughts. "Excuse me, ma'am. That dress is $15,000. The boutique manager, a slim woman with high heels and an even higher nose, gave Elina a sideways glance. Two assistants looked up from behind the counter, exchanging smirks. "I just wanted to see the fabric," Elina murmured. "It's not for touching. Our clients usually make appointments," the manager said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "And frankly, we don't entertain walk-ins who don't look like our clientele." The air in the boutique froze. Elina lowered her gaze, nodded once, and quietly turned to leave. No drama. No protest. Just silent humiliation as she stepped back onto the sidewalk. But one of the shopgirls followed her with her eyes, noticing something strange. Elina had walked past the row of taxis and headed toward the corner, where a discreet black car with tinted windows waited. Back inside the boutique, the assistants buzzed with gossip. "Did you see her shoes?" one whispered. "Looked like she got them from a thrift store." The manager laughed, tossing her sleek hair. "Some people just don't belong in high fashion. You can smell poverty the moment they walk in." She waved a hand and told them to get ready. A celebrity was scheduled for a private fitting in an hour. But even as they returned to folding silk scarves and rearranging expensive handbags, the memory of Elina lingered. Something about her composure, her quietness, it had unsettled them. The assistant who had seen the car tried to speak. "She went to Forget her," the manager snapped. "If she comes back, just call security." Outside, the sky had begun to darken slightly. The calm before a storm. Exactly 1 hour after Elina was dismissed, a sound echoed on the street. Powerful. The low rumble of a luxury engine idling outside. Heads turned inside the boutique. A black luxury SUV had just parked at the curb. The kind you didn't buy, the kind that came with a chauffeur, bulletproof glass, and a name that opened private banks. The doors hadn't opened yet. But the boutique staff moved to the windows, suddenly anxious. The black SUV sat in silence for a moment. Long enough to create tension. Long enough for the boutique manager to realize she hadn't scheduled any VIPs with that kind of ride today. Then the driver's door opened. A tall man in a black suit stepped out, straightened his jacket, and walked to the passenger side. The boutique assistants peered through the glass. The driver wore an earpiece. Military bearing. Not a regular chauffeur. He opened the back door with precision. From the shadows emerged a man whose presence sucked the air out of the room. Broad-shouldered. Wearing a tailored black coat, crisp white shirt, and steel-gray eyes that scanned the boutique with laser focus. He was Arab. Powerful. And unmistakably wealthy. He walked toward the boutique entrance. The manager's breath caught in her throat. She adjusted her blazer and rushed to the door, preparing her best smile. "Good afternoon, sir," she began. The man didn't smile back. He stepped inside without a word, followed by the driver. The boutique, so lively an hour ago, had gone silent. Then he looked around, pointed to the mannequin with the green dress, and said something the manager couldn't believe. "Where is the woman you humiliated earlier?" The boutique manager stiffened, her lips twitching into a nervous smile. "I am sorry, sir, I'm not sure what you mean," she said, though the blood had drained from her face. The man stepped closer. "My wife. She came here earlier. You told her she didn't belong. You told her the dress was too expensive." The assistants behind the counter froze. The shopgirl who had tried to warn the manager earlier whispered under her breath, "I told you." The man's voice was calm, but it held the weight of command. "Her name is Elina. And she is more than qualified to purchase anything in this store. In fact, she could buy this store." The manager's hands trembled slightly. "Sir, if I may explain." "No. You may not," he interrupted. "You didn't ask for her name. You didn't ask how you could help. You judged her clothes, not her worth." The driver handed him a small envelope. The man opened it slowly and pulled out a thick black credit card, placing it on the glass counter with a soft click. "Take this," he said coldly, "and run it for the most expensive items you have." Not because she needs them, but because I want to see you serve the woman you disrespected. The room was dead quiet. But before the manager could reach for the card, the boutique door opened again. And in walked Elina. Elina stood at the entrance, eyes wide, unsure why her husband was standing at the counter with the boutique's entire staff looking like statues. He turned to her and gently offered his hand. Come, Habibti. She walked in slowly, confused, her eyes moving from him to the manager, then to the black SUV parked just outside. The assistants didn't dare speak. Not even a whisper. The manager, pale as porcelain, forced a smile. Madam, I owe you a sincere apology. But Elina raised a hand. She looked around. The green dress still hung in place. She stepped toward it, reached out her hand again, and this time no one stopped her. She ran her fingers across the silk. Slowly, thoughtfully. Then she turned back to her husband. I don't need it, she said softly. Her husband nodded. But then he looked at the manager and said, I still want you to ring it up. The driver stepped forward and handed the manager the black card once more. This time with a hard stare. As the transaction was processed in silence, the other customers in the boutique had stopped pretending to browse. Everyone watched. The assistants looked ashamed. One of them, with watery eyes, whispered, I'm so sorry. Elina smiled faintly but said nothing. But the moment wasn't over yet. Because just as the receipt printed and the bag was handed over, the husband turned to Elina and said something only she understood. Tell her who owns this building. Elina blinked, unsure if she heard him right. You want me to? Her husband nodded once. Come. Certain. She turned slowly to the boutique manager, still clutching the luxury bag as if it were made of glass. Elina's voice was quiet but steady. My husband, she began, owns the real estate firm that leases this entire block, including this boutique. The manager gasped audibly. Her eyes darted from Elina to the man beside her, then to the SUV waiting outside. Elina, the husband added with a smirk, is listed as the co-owner. On paper, she is technically your landlord. Silence collapsed the room. The boutique manager's knees nearly buckled. Her pride, her arrogance, shattered in front of her own employees and customers. One of the assistants stepped back, mouth open in disbelief. Another whispered, She owns this building? Elina, composed as ever, stepped forward. You didn't just treat me like I was poor. You treated me like I didn't belong in your world. The manager's lips trembled. Please, ma'am, if I had known. But that's the problem, Elina said, voice like steel wrapped in silk. You shouldn't have to know someone's wealth to treat them with dignity. A long silence followed. Then, Elina handed the bag with the green dress to the assistant who had shown kindness earlier. This is for you. Not the dress but the opportunity. I'll be opening a new store on Fifth Avenue. And I need people who know how to see people. The assistant covered her mouth, shocked. Elina turned away, took her husband's hand, and together they walked toward the boutique doors. But just as the doors opened, the boutique manager called out with desperation. Will we be evicted? Elina paused, turned. Her eyes met the woman's one last time. And without a word, she stepped into the black SUV, letting the silence answer for her. Moral of the story, treat people with respect, not based on appearance. In life, appearances can deceive. The woman you look down on might be the owner of the very building you work in. The man in simple clothes might be wealthier than the one in a tailored suit. True class has nothing to do with what you wear, but everything to do with how you treat others. Elina didn't need to raise her voice. She didn't need revenge. Her quiet strength and grace spoke louder than money ever could. And in the end, it wasn't wealth that taught a lesson, it was humility. This story is fictional, written as if it were real, to inspire and reflect on human values. If you were moved by this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Wise Story for more inspiring tales that touch the heart and awaken the soul. Thank you for watching.